I'm Lynn. Welcome back to Cooking with Lynn. I'm in my kitchen again, cooking for the Cumberland Library, and I hope you're enjoying the videos. This one is one pot meal skillet lasagna. Skillet lasagna. It's a tongue tie kind of thing. So I'm gonna cook it in this pan, and I've never cooked it in this pan before, so I hope that we don't get overflow, but we're gonna give it a shot. Alright, so it's skillet lasagna. It takes away all the fuss of the layering and all that baloney. So you cook it in one pot and it's a lot quicker and easier, and it really tastes kind of the same. So I'm going to tell you what you need and then we'll get going. So I would normally make my own sauce, but I didn't feel like it, so I got some jarred sauce. I got a couple different ones actually. And I don't know if I'm going to need all of them, but the sauce is what's going to cook the noodles. So you want lasagna noodles, obviously. Don't get the no boil kind. So there's the kind where you put them in the pan, you layer them, you know, uncooked. So crunchy, uncooked. Don't get those. Get the kind you have to boil. And a lot of times, well, I just noticed that most of them are the no boil kind. You don't want the no boil kind. So I found those, found that. So, and you need ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese. I'm going to put meat in mine. You can put sausage, you can put hamburger, you know, ground beef, whatever you want. I'm going to put ground turkey because if you've watched my videos, you know I make a lot of ground turkey. So I've got basil to top it all off. I got Italian seasoning, my cheeses, salt and pepper, garlic, onion. So because I'm using a jarred sauce, I've never bought a jarred sauce and used it that I don't doctor up. So I'm going to zhuzh it up a little bit because I'm not making my own. So I'm going to give it my own spin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up an onion and some garlic and get that sauteing, get the meat in, get that going, then we'll throw in some other herbs and some salt and pepper. And controversially, I put sugar in my sauce. I know a lot of people don't, but I like it to take out that little bit of like that acid from the tomatoes. So, and I have a sweet tooth, so I put a little sugar in there, you know, just to sweeten it up a little. So I'm going to cut up my onion, and then we'll get cooking. Stop talking, get cooking. It's pretty quick and easy. You don't have to put meat. Like I said, you can put any meat or no meat. This is also another one of those kind of make it your own kind of things. Make it a couple of times and see what works and what doesn't work for you and your family. And adapt it accordingly. So, just doing one onion might actually be too much. We'll see after I chop it all, because I'm sure there's onion in at least one of these sauces, if not both. But I find that they don't have much texture to them. They're just sauce, and they can be kind of boring, in my opinion. So I'm gonna make them unboring. You know, no offense to them. They usually taste okay. I'm not trying to say anything negative about these particular brands, but I don't know. Ever since I've been making my own, I find that the jar ones can be a little bland. So I just kind of make it my own. And a lot of times when I make my sauce, I put veggies in my sauce. I put sometimes zucchini. I put spinach sometimes. I put, what else do I put? I put peppers, red peppers, and I don't know. I find that they don't have enough salt, and they're just a little too bland for me. So, and you can also make this dish, even though lasagna is not traditionally spicy, you can throw red pepper flakes in here or whatever you would normally use to make it a spicy dish. do that too. That's what I mean when I say make it your own. Do what you like. Cooking is a lot more forgiving than baking. Well, I don't do a lot of baking. So, I like cooking. Been doing it a long time. I like to try a lot of different recipes, and if they don't work, I don't make them again. I always think about when I try a new recipe. I think about how much work was it versus how tasty was it, how delicious was it, and if it's like super delicious, and maybe if it was a lot of work, I'll still make it again. But if it's kind of like, that was kind of okay, but it was a ton of work, forget it. Ain't making it again. Because it's got to be worth it if you're going to spend a lot of time on it. Am I right? Put a little garlic. One of these sauces says fresh garlic, but I'm sure they didn't put enough. I'm only going to put a little anyway. It would help if I took the skin off this one. Nobody wants to get the garlic skin stuck to their tongue or whatever. That would not be good. I guess at this point, I can throw my meat in. I want to let the onions get a little bit translucent. We'll give them another minute or so. You don't want them to get brown. I'm not trying to caramelize them, which is why I put the salt on right away, because I'm trying to sweat them. And I want them to just get translucent. And I'm just mincing my garlic. You don't have to put it if you don't want to. And I don't put it in at the same time as the onion because it'll get overcooked and bitter. It's so tiny that it cooks so quickly. Just dump that in there. And break it all up. I'm really hoping this pan is going to be big enough. Like I said, I've never made it in this pan before. Break that all up. Let it cook. Now I'm going to throw the garlic on top of that. And it won't be sitting on the bottom, and that way it won't get burnt and have that bitter taste. Garlic does not taste good. You can't caramelize garlic. You can roast it and have it turn like that light brown, when you roast it in the oven, and that's yummy, but you don't want it to get just burnt. It just doesn't taste good. So let's toss that around. Okay. I'm going to throw some Italian seasoning on there. Measure it by the hand, so that's probably a teaspoon and 2, so we'll see how that goes. You can always add more later. I'm going to add some fresh basil at the end. The fresh herbs usually go on at the end. Not just as a garnish, but obviously basil goes well with Italian food. This dish combines 3 of my favorite things. I like ground turkey, I love a red sauce, and I love cheese. As you may know if you've watched this many times before, if it ain't cheesy, then it doesn't go down easy. So I like to have a lot of cheese. Try to go a little easy because, let's face it, it's not a dietetic kind of thing. And if you're watching your cholesterol and all that. It is protein, so it does have good qualities. Alright, we're almost there. It's smelling good. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the sauce on, then we're going to put the noodles in. We're going to let the noodles get nice and soft, and then we're going to throw some cheese on, and really that is it. I mean, come on, if your kids like lasagna or they like Italian food, this is a great weeknight meal. It's going to take me, I mean, I haven't been doing this very long, and I'm not going to be doing it much longer. Super easy. And who doesn't love a one skillet, one pot meal? One pan to clean. Doesn't get better than that. Alright, I think we're good. You want it to get all cooked so there's no more pink. Sometimes I use Italian sausage, sweet Italian sausage. I might throw that in there, but I don't love sausage. The only one I really like is the sweet Italian sausage. I don't like the hot one. I'm not a spicy person. So, you know. Alright, I'm going to get this in here. Now, if you were using ground beef, you would want to drain the fat out before you do this. Ground turkey, I always buy the 93%, fat-free, whatever, 7% fat, whatever. So there's no reason to drain anything out of there. So I'm definitely going to need, now I could just eat that right out of the pan with a little cheese on it. I love anything smothered in tomato sauce. Can she do it? Can she do it? Alright, we're going to use my little trick. See if it works. Pop the top can opener under the lid. You hear that little pop, comes right off. This sauce is a little darker, and it's kind of good if you mix two. If you're not going to make your own, you're going to use jar sauce. Mix two different ones to get a little different flavor from each one. I'm going to put some more. I mean, at this point, I think we're going to be okay. Let that get a little warm because the lasagna noodles are going to cook in there, so it needs to be warm. Right now it's not warm. And we're not going to use all these. We're going to use 8 or 9 of them. We're going to break them up. So we're not going to layer them. And I know I think there are some skillet lasagna recipes out there where you do layer them, and you cut it like a regular lasagna, but this is not what we're doing here. We're just breaking them up. So really, I mean, you could put anything in here, but it's not lasagna. If it's not lasagna noodles, you could put ziti or whatever, but that's not skillet lasagna. Okay, you know what I said I was going to add some sugar, and I am. I think I'll give it a little taste. It's actually kind of sweet. I'm not going to add any sugar. Boy. Now, where am I? It's also not hot enough. Just keep stirring it until it gets hot enough. Break up the noodles and get them in there. It's starting to boil, so I think we're getting there. And you can break them up any way you want. It's going to go everywhere. Big, small. If you got little kids, you probably want to do it a little on the smaller side. So you don't have to be... Alright, do it over the pan. What's the matter with you? How many was that? 2. Probably going to end up going with maybe 8. You can have your kids do this. Just be careful. It's a hot stove. But they probably, you could have them break it up onto a dish or something. They would probably enjoy doing that. Helping mom out or dad. I lost count. Just gonna do it until I can't fit anymore. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. Cleanup's gonna be fun because these are going everywhere. They don't have to be even. They don't have to be fancy. Little pieces, big pieces, crooked pieces. This makes enough for, depending on the appetite, probably at least 4 people, if not more. You know, if it's little kids, maybe they don't eat quite as much. But leftovers are great. I always find that lasagna tastes better the next day. Just maybe wear goggles. Haven't got hit in the eye yet, but there's still time. I'm gonna do 2 or 3 more. See where we're at. Maybe 1 more. Because you know the noodles are gonna puff up and they're gonna absorb some of this liquid, and you don't want it to just be a pan of like stuck together. I actually don't think I'm gonna put any more. I don't even know how many I did. All right, split the difference. I'm gonna do 1 more. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be finding pieces of lasagna noodles for weeks. Turn this down a bit. Alright, so we're just going to cook this for maybe 10 minutes until the noodles are nice and soft. So we're going to pause here and we'll be right back. Alrighty, this has been cooking away for a good 18 minutes. And what I needed to do was I needed to add some water because those lasagna noodles are letting off some starch and it can start to get gloopy. So I put probably a cup of water in there over time. I put a little, stirred it up. So you want to hang out with this. You don't have to like stare at it, but don't just put it there and walk away. And put it kind of low because the noodles are sticky. They're going to stick to the bottom of the pan if you don't keep stirring it. So you gotta kind of babysit it a little bit. The noodles are getting nice and soft, and so we're almost there. I mean, some of the noodles are ready to eat. Some of them, like if you don't stir it, they'll stick together, and then they don't cook as fast. So you want to stir it a lot, and you want to hang out with it and keep an eye on it. Add some water to it so that it doesn't get too gloopy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and you can skip this step if you don't like ricotta, or you can use cottage cheese, whatever. Oh, I already took the top off. Okay, I'm just going to dollop some ricotta here and there. And then when we serve it, it'll kind of get mixed in. You can mix it in if you want, but I'm just going to give it a dollop here, there, and not a ton. Well, that's okay. Okay, that's good. And then I'm also going to, of course, cheese, some mozzarella. Just let that kind of hang out and get all melty and cheesy. Okay, and then I've got some basil that I cut up, so I'm going to put that on top. And then I'm going to try it, and I'm going to try not to burn my mouth. All right, I'm gonna put it way down, and I'm gonna grab some, even though I really should wait for the cheese to melt, but I'm just gonna do this because we're videotaping. That there. Okay. And I love basil. If you don't like basil, leave it off. You can put parsley, whatever, a little on top. I mean, it looks like lasagna, other than it's not all layered. All right, let me try to not burn my mouth. I want some cheese. I know it's gonna burn. It's gonna be hot. The noodles are still a tiny bit al dente. Some people like it like that. That's why I think this would be good like leftover. It's so good. It tastes just like lasagna. Because it is. It is lasagna. Well, this is my dinner. Probably tomorrow night too. What is not to like? Your kids will like this, I think. Unless they're super picky. I'm just gonna keep eating it. Super yummy. Alright, stop eating. I'm gonna let this go on low a little bit longer, just so the noodles can cook a little more and the cheese can melt. I mean, you could stick it under the broiler if you wanted the cheese to melt faster, but it will eventually melt. And obviously put as much or as little as you want. But I hope you give it a try. I hope I don't have tomato sauce on my face. And I hope you come back next month when I'm doing a one-pot chicken orzo white bean thing, which is super, super yummy. And then maybe we'll do a dessert after that in April. So keep coming back, keep watching the videos. You can email us and let us know if there's something you'd like to see. Reference at cumberlandlibrary.org. That's where you would email. And come see us if you're local. Come check out all the stuff we're doing and keep watching. And keep checking out our website and see what we're up to. All right, I hope to see you soon. Take care.